Wanted to jump on here right quick to say thank you for 100 podcast episodes. I appreciate y'all. Be blessed. Welcome back to Lawn Dude on Earth. Thank you for listening to the show today. Let's see what topic we get into after the intro. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Lawn Dude Unearthed. Now, I didn't even see this one coming here, man. I didn't see this one coming. I know today's episode is supposed to be on mental health, but you know what, man? This is episode 100 right here. Episode 100. I was expecting to go live for this joint. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I thought I would go live on IG. But if I'm going to be completely honest with y'all, as I always am, and if I'm going to sit here and give y'all the real deal Holyfield, as I always do, and if I'm going to keep it on 1,000 with y'all, as I always have, I'm going to just tell y'all that life has happened, man, and I haven't had the chance to even think about when I will go live. Now, while I make a commitment to go ahead and make sure I have a few podcasts out by certain times, I will tell you that the schedule, the time for me to go live right now just hasn't been something that I've been able to do this past week alone. Just between, like, you know, kids having events and, you know, things with school, you know, concerts, doctor's appointments, you know, for the kids, and, you know, you name it. And just work too, trying to get out here and knock out the last of these cleanups. I'm honestly still looking to sell some cleanups, trying to get vehicles repaired, and I've been working my behind off on 2025 services. My saying right now is, if you have a New Year's resolution, you have a New Year's goal, you're not on the same level as me. And I don't say that, you know, to be arrogant. I don't say that to brag to anybody. I say that because I'm tired of always seeing people who say, I have a New Year's resolution to do this. Heck, I've been that person multiple times. But you know what? Today, real time, is December 6th, 2024. I don't have a New Year's resolution. I have a right now resolution. And that right now resolution is, going into 2025, I'm already going to have systems in place. I'm already going to have it together to where everything is running fluid. The business is at the number that I would love it to be at. And we have nothing to worry about, at least financially. We have nothing to worry about when it comes to work. We have more than enough work. Not too much work, but more than enough work. There's a difference between more than enough and too much. More than enough, you have enough to do what you need to do, and then some, maybe. But when it comes to too much, oh man, you're pulling your hair out trying to figure out how everything is going to get done. If you're growing, cool. I'm slightly growing, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm in full growth mode where I'm expecting to get like 4 or 5 crews. I am expecting to get a couple people, hopefully, in the future. You see, I'm not going to fall for that trap and say, in 2025, I'm expecting to do this, that, and the third. Nah, I'm just going to say, I'm expecting to get some people in the future. Whether that ends up being 2025, preferably, or 2026, or, so on and so forth. I'm following God's plan. Whatever plan that is that he has in place, heck, it might even be within the next 2 weeks or the next few weeks of 2024 that we get someone or a few. Who knows? But I say all this to say I didn't get a chance to record the live like I wanted to for episode 100. I want to do something similar to what Andy Moulder does, or Cornell Mack, Cedric Steele, all these guys. Whether it's the Motor Life podcast or Lawn Care Power Moves or On the Attack with Mac, as you probably better know them as. They go IG live and record the audio and send it back as a podcast. I even seen, Boneyard is doing that. Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to all y'all. And I'm sorry, that's the Mo Talking Podcast. My apologies. As I go back and edit, that should be the Mo Trapping Podcast. Apologize, Boneyard and Crawley. I'm trying to get all y'all podcast names, as people probably know them as. But all you guys do it just that way, with recording a live on IG and then re-recording or setting up the audio for a podcast. Well, that was my plan for episode 100. That was my big plan, and I mean big plans for it. And just this past week, I'm not the guy that rushes when it comes to, wanting something to be done right and with quality. So guess what? I didn't do that. I could have rushed and threw together live, but then it wouldn't have been great. It wouldn't have been the type of quality that I like to put out there on podcasts. So I follow my instinct and say, you know what? I'm just going to record a regular podcast. So episode 100, man. And you guys so far are probably just like, man, this dude ain't doing nothing but rambling. I am so beyond humbled right now, because I didn't think I would get this far with the podcasting, to be completely honest with you. I've been on YouTube for a while before I even started podcasting. And one thing I never liked about YouTube is hearing my own voice. And to be completely honest with you, podcasting is nothing but that, hearing your own voice. And the fact that I've been able to hang in there for 100 episodes is amazing. It's a blessing. And I thank God that there's been some of y'all from the beginning that has heard all of my podcast. There's some of you who just join in and are just now hearing my podcast. I said when I started this podcast, I wanted to be real. I wanted to keep it 1,000. I wanted to always be honest and provide insight. The insight that I didn't have, man. I came into this industry and I had cold feet for the longest time, working for other people, because there's nothing out there like there is nowadays, telling people the ins and outs. So I was always worried about falling flat on my face instead of using my faith. I could have started earlier if I did, but at the same time, God allowed me to stay where I was at until it was time to come out and start my business. So while hindsight is 20/20, I'll sit here and say that it's a blessing to be able to be on here and provide someone else with the ins and outs, provide someone else with the stuff that they don't talk about, when they're out there showing you the highlight reel. I want to show the low light reel, man. I want to show the negative. I want to show not only the pros, but the cons. I want to show how, to have a successful marriage and to be a great father all at the same time. How to be a family man. Everybody wants to talk about what shiny new piece of equipment they have. Everybody wants to talk about how much money they're making. Well, guess what? I want to know what kind of family man you are. And that's been a goal of mine with this podcast. One goal I have each and every day that I lace up my kicks to get out here and grind is for my family, to be here for my family. Because I love my family. And I know at the end of the day that everything I do is for them. If that doesn't motivate you, then I don't know what will. That is my motivation. Not to sit here and show y'all the shiny equipment. Don't get me wrong. I consider myself an equipment junkie. I love equipment. But you know what? The older I've gotten, it's not just about getting equipment. It's about getting what buys back my time. Whatever equipment buys back my time to allow me to get done faster, to show up to my kids' practices, show up to their games, show up to anything that my wife needs me to be there for, show up to anything that my wife wants me to be there for, show up for us to have lunch for a day, show up to possibly surprise, our daughter at her school for lunch, possibly show up for, lunch with our son, a game for one of them, whatever it is. My family, my friends, to be able to show up makes it all worth it, man. It makes it all worth it. So when I sit around and I do these weekly mental health installments and say, you need to check on your people, guess what? I live and breathe that saying, because that is something that I do all the time. I check on my folk. And you know what? I love my circle because they check on me too. So sometimes you just got to realize that there are other people out here that are going through things. Real talk. You got to realize that, man. So check on your people. Check on your people. Some people are struggling. When I'm sitting here talking about the ins and the outs, the struggles, the pros and the cons, the low light real, I'm speaking from experience. So episode 100, man. Why is it such a big deal to me? Because I've always considered myself introverted. And now I'm out here on my 100th episode on a podcast. You guys don't understand what kind of blessing it is to be on episode 100. Episode 100, man. Man, what a blessing that is. So while some people will never work the urge to gain more confidence, I'm always going to be out here doing whatever I can to help out others, because once again, this help wasn't offered to me. Or don't get me wrong, the help was offered to me. It's just all these devices, all these tools, all these YouTube University situations weren't available. Not when I was coming up in the industry. I grinded my behind off to get to where I am today. No diddy. But it's a lot, man. It is a lot. I can sit here and reflect. I'll be here for another few hours reflecting on all that we've been through to get to where we're at now. And still ain't finished. Still grinding. I told you at the beginning of this podcast, I'm already working on things for 2025. I don't wait till 2025 to work on agreements, to work on what we need equipment-wise, what materials we need. I do that stuff now, because I like to hit the ground running. Not crawling, not walking, not jogging, straight out sprint. I hit the ground sprinting, and then guess what? While everybody else is starting to sprint, I come down to a jog. And then once I feel good without that jog, I come on down to a walk. But you know what? I keep that foot on the gas. So I'm always at least at a walk. While everybody else is still sprinting. That's my mindset. That is where I'm at now. And guess what? Everybody in my circle around me is the same way. We uplift each other in these situations. This is why it's important to check on your folk. This is why it's important to ask how you doing, how you feeling. If you a crab in a barrel and you just standing around, hoping on your person's downfall, somebody who's supposed to be your friend, somebody who's supposed to be your family, then nah, man, you can't be around me. That's not my style. That's not how I get down. I want positive influences around me, and that's what I have. I've been blessed with everyone that is around. I've been blessed with everyone who listens to this podcast. I've been blessed with all those who reach out to me through this podcast, and I appreciate it. Probably the most consistent person to reach out to me is my man with 5 points, lawn and landscape. And I appreciate you, Rob, for real. Those messages you send me, I appreciate them. So I'm about to check out here. This is not the episode 100 I hope for. Once again, I might still get on the live. It will be episode 101. But you know what? It will still be an episode, man. You know what I mean? It will still be something. And once again, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Lawn Dude on Earth. We talk about all kinds of things here. The good stuff, the tough stuff, and everything in between. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and have a blessed day.